Good afternoon, everybody. Today's the 22nd of January 2017. I'm going to be going over some trade ideas for this week. My apologies for the video actually being pretty late today, but better late than never, and at least it'll give you some time to go over some of the trade ideas coming into this week that I'm looking at. I'm looking at some of the retailers this week, JCP in focus for me, as the chart is coming up into an interesting area. Now I know that we are kind of curling into this range here, but there's definite some support coming up into the $6.50 range. Now that support, you're gonna have to go back a little far out to find it, but if you go back to at least a decent amount, you'll see there's a possibility for what we could be coming into with a possible inverted head and shoulder pattern over here if the chart comes into that $6.50 range. Now why I do like that area also is because if you bring the chart out further out into this range right there and right there, you will find that we're also coming into what could be a trend line support. So we have a possible inverted head and shoulder at 650 and an uptrend test at 650. So with those two coming into an area where we're going to be intersecting soon enough, I'm liking the $6.50 level on JCP. So if the chart comes into that $6.50 and holds, I will definitely be looking at a position in there myself for a possible swing. BAS is another one that I'm looking at. Small little move consistently coming up into the last couple days here, and I'm thinking that the chart actually closed over its 50 EMA, which sits at about $41.68. The gap is coming right into here about $44.64. So I think that the chart actually wants to come up to that area, which means that we do have a play in it at least for a couple points. If it pulls back to $41.68 area and holds, I think we have the potential for it to get up into this $44.64 range, and then obviously hold some to see if it can get into that gap. So that's BAS. HLF is interesting to me in this range. Chart pushed through the 50, came back into it, and pushed back over it. So what I'm thinking is we can have a possibility for this chart actually holding some support into this range. So I would love to see a pullback down to about $52.40 or so. Look for some support off of Friday's move, and if we can get a continuation on it, I would obviously be looking for Friday's high session to be broken out. But there would be a very small little flag here, and a breakout would put you over $53.44 into this couple day trend, and that would put you into a long scenario also. So for me, what I'm looking at is for a pullback to this $52.40 range, and then ultimately a little break over the flag, and a break over Friday's session high puts me into a possible continuation hole into the next couple days. Xray, XRAY. There's a possibility of a double bottom over here that you definitely should be looking at right here. Pin bar reversal candle with strong volume. Earnings is a little further away, so I think we could have a possibility of the chart coming up into this range. If we was to get a continuation off of what could be this pin bar reversal candle over here, then we'd need to get ultimately this trend to break. That trend sits about $58. So from where it is at $56, risk obviously to the low on Friday session, which should provide a double bottom scenario. And we're using that pin bar candle over here as for a possible move up to that $58. And if it trend was to break over there, then it could be a nice little play. Cndt. I like this chart here on this flag. This chart is flagging over here nicely. It's a recent chart, so it doesn't have that much data for it right now. The only thing is that you're reversing off the downtrend. Chart close over the 50 EMA, no volume or anything, nothing to look at other than the possibility of a reversal of the trend break. So what I'd be looking at is I'd be looking for a hole into this $14.25 range, which isn't really much of a pullback or much of a move right now. But it could obviously be something if it was to turn all the way back up here to the highs. So for me, what I'd be looking at is definitely into this low 14 area for a possible long, and obviously you need to hold a trend for any continuation to the upside. DGX is another one that I'm looking at. Chart started to come down on Friday's session. It obviously broke the trend to the downside, and the chart broke the trend to the downside, and I'm thinking that we can get it to come down a little bit lower. So what I'm looking at is, obviously we have earnings coming up on the 26th, so don't hold it into that. I mean, that's just my preference, obviously. I don't really hold positions into that, but coming into that, knowing that the trend is breaking down here, risking to the trend on the downside over here, I think it could provide for a decent short opportunity. Could probably come down right back into this $89 level, find some support from across this range, and so I'm short biased on this one coming into this week. Obviously, any pop back to 91.60 or so, I'd be looking for a short on it coming into this week. Pstg is a nice looking chart. Daily flag making higher lows as it's making its way up here. We do have a trend line breakout to the upside, which is a good starter. We have a good uptrend forming over here. Risk really isn't huge down to the area of the breakout, so I'd be looking for a continuation off of Pstg coming into this week. Definitely one of the names that I'd be looking at to play, especially off of any of this area here, which is pretty much at 1180, 1175, somewhere on there. ICE, this is a nice looking chart. Came back to the 50 EMA, formed a nice little double bottom here. Chart setting up into what could be a breakout range. So for right now, we're stuck obviously inside of this channel, but a breakout over $57.74 puts you into a buy shot. And the chart does have range to the upside. I'm looking at about low 60s to the upside if the chart gets the continuation to that direction. Next one on the list is Ben. It is a tight pennant setting up over here, so a definite chart play if you can get the breakout over the trend line down here, which should right now put you, if it was to come in tomorrow, it puts you right about over $41 for a breakout, and I think the chart does have some upside potential somewhere close up into the $44 range if it gets going. Ntap, this is a chart I actually do really like. Chart's been flagging for a while. Indicators have been reset, and I like this one here very much. I will definitely be playing this one on a pullback. I'll be risking this range down here for some sort of a possible swing setup, and obviously my upside target for right now is going to be the highs, which are going to be about 39. But if the chart was to work the way that I want it to work, I'd be looking for an exit somewhere up to about 42. So those are the few that I have for this week. I think there's definite some potential there for a couple charts to really have some nice moves either to the upside and that DGX to the downside. There's obviously going to be a lot of other things happening this week, so take a good look at the at the general market. Notice how the indicators have been reset. Obviously there'll be a lot of things happening this week, so play on the safe side. Keep them small for right now until you get yourself a good direction and at least a good trend to work with. For those of you guys that don't already follow me, obviously it's at ICEMAN Trading, and there you'll find links to pretty much everything that I do. Thank you guys. Have a good week.